One of the most common questions that I get when it comes to helping buyers as well as sellers here in the Kansas City area has to do with foundations. Now, this video is going to be showing 11 different signs that your foundation may have a problem. So this video is great for sellers who are looking to sell their home as well as buyers who are considering a property with a basement. 90% of all properties in the Kansas City metropolitan area with the 6 counties that I cover have basements. And so these questions are fair, these questions are real. So I'm going to be showing you the 11 signs that I have experienced when it comes to whether or not your foundation could have problems. If we've never met before, my name is Anita Cordell and I make videos about all things Kansas City, where to eat, where to sleep, what to do on weekends, all kinds of fun things with your family. I also talk about the weather. I'm also a licensed real estate agent and a team lead of the Yellow Brick Group, and we help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest right here in our amazing city. Why? Because there's no place like home. Now, if you've ever had foundation issues before, I want to personally invite you to make some comments down below because your experience will actually help someone else who's watching this video. So be sure and share your experience, ask any questions. As always, if you need any help, reach out to me. In the description below is my contact information, including a link that goes right to my calendar so that if you want to have a video conference, that is the first step in me helping you as a home buyer or a home seller. You can get right on my calendar and we will have a video consultation, and I'd love to help with your real estate goals. Now let's get right into the video. Now in this video, I'm going to be talking about 11 signs that you need to look for if you are purchasing a property with a foundation. And you'll want to know these signs just to make sure that they're not futuristic problems and just to make sure that you know what to look for in gauging whether or not that property has some issues. Also, we're going to be talking about whether or not you should hire a foundation expert to come in and take a look at it and gauge whether or not there are issues, as well as the difference between a foundation expert as well as a structural engineer. Because if you don't have these in your portfolio and you don't have those contractors to call upon, you may be doing yourself a disservice. When it comes to buyers, first of all, we here in Kansas City have a 10-day inspection period. That means that when you purchase a property or when you sign on the dotted line and you start to enter into your inspection period, you need to do your due diligence. And that due diligence has to do with all the inspections. And if there's any problems or anything that you foresee could be an issue, you might want to consider having a foundation expert come out. A structural engineer oftentimes will not do the work that has to be done. And the reason why is because they want to focus on providing you with the engineer's report and provide you with that detail without being biased on whether or not you need to hire someone. Oftentimes what I have come across is structural engineers are very neutral. They give you the report and that's what you hire them to do. And if it does need repair, then we can find someone else to do those repairs. It's not always that case, but oftentimes that is. And the job that you hire them to do is to provide a very solid engineer's report. They usually run around $250. They'll give you the report and then you can have a legitimate document that tells all of their findings when it comes to the report. A foundation expert is somebody different, meaning that they really, honestly, they most of the time don't even charge for their report. How that is a pro is obviously you're going to save money. How that's a con is that they don't have the engineer certification behind their report. It is more or less their opinion in a sense of you could have 5 different foundation companies come out and they all give you similar but different, they might not be all the same opinion on how to do any kind of repairs based upon what their company does. So you could have copper fibers, other types of just injection remediation. There's multiple different ways to remediate a foundation, and there's multiple different companies out there. Most of the time they'll give a free estimate and then they'll quote you on what needs to be done. So let's get into the 11 different signs that you are going to need to be watchful of when you're purchasing a home. And then if you're getting ready to put your house up on the market, this is a good time to take a look at your foundation as well. The number one sign that there could be an indication of foundation problems is the cracks that are in your foundation. Cracks can come whether they are interior or exterior, so make sure that if you have a property that you are considering purchasing, or you're having a property that you're considering selling, walk around the outside too. Don't just look inside, but walk around the outside of the foundation. And if you see any cracks on the outside as well as on the inside, you know that there's probably something going on. Now, one of the things that people ask is, how do I know that there is a problem that's just a bit bigger than cracks or a hairline crack? So hairline cracks are something that I've been told by foundation experts multiple times. It's not a matter of if you get a crack in your foundation, it's a matter of when. And so what that will mean is there's probably going to be hairline cracks in most people's foundations. When to call a foundation expert is when that crack is normally around 1/8 of an inch or bigger. And so if it is that, you need to call somebody. And that includes drywall as well. A lot of times people will take a look at the cracks in the foundation, whether that's vertical or horizontal, and they will think that that's the only cracks to take a look at. But if you have cracks in your drywall, whether that's an interior wall or a ceiling, you'll want to take a look at that as well and make sure that you call a foundation expert. One overlooked sign that I want to talk about is your windows. Oftentimes people will have a window that will not open or multiple windows that will not open. And if that is the case, you can also take a look and see if they're sticky. That could be a large sign that your foundation needs repairs. Now, one of the things that I have been told also from foundation experts is that there will be settling in your property, and there will be settling cracks that are in your drywall. Oftentimes they are above windows or above doors, and so when somebody purchases a brand new home and the soil is settling, sometimes there's a little bit of pressure that's put on the foundation after a year or two, and there's a crack that splits the drywall. Oftentimes that is not a big issue. It just needs to be patched, and therefore the soil is okay, and making sure that you've got that repaired and aesthetically it's okay. But if it's around a whole lot of windows, your windows are not opening, they're sticky, and you're having issues with that, that could be a very big sign that there's a foundation issue and you need to look into it. A third sign that there could be a foundation issue in your home is when there is a gap between the ceiling and your crown molding in your home. This is a sure sign that your house has settled more than what is the normal typical settling. It could be a clear sign that your foundation needs to be addressed. So make sure that when you are looking at your crown molding around your home, you take a good look at that. And if it is the case, if there are gaps, be sure and call a foundation expert. The fourth sign of a potential foundation issue has to do with caulking. A lot of times people think that caulking just needs to be updated once in a while, or if there's cracks in the caulking, it's all only because of just mere general settling, but that does not necessarily mean the case. If there's caulking issues that are around windows, door frames, or bathtubs, or any of that nature, if there's quite a bit of cracking, you're going to want to get that taken care of, because that is unfortunately another sign that there's foundation issues in your home. The fifth sign that your foundation could have a problem has to deal with sunken floors or sunken foundation. Other signs that you have a sinking floor or a sinking foundation has to do with bouncing floors, leaning chimney, plumbing problems, and uneven floors. Now, oftentimes if you can tell that you have an uneven floor, you can grab a marble and put the marble on the floor, and if the marble keeps moving in one direction versus just staying neutral, you know that you have an uneven floor, and it's probably going to come up in an inspection and you'll want to get that taken care of. Another way you can tell that you have a sunken floor or sunken foundation is the floor cracks. You also may have a wet crawl space or a wet basement, some drainage issues, as well as, of course, your windows will be problematic where they won't open or they'll stick again. The sixth sign that you might have foundation issues has to do with your patio or your deck. Oftentimes people forget to look at whether or not the patio is still intact, and you might have put in a beautiful patio 10 years ago and everything is so fine and there's no issues when it comes to that, so you think. But you'll still want to look at the patio and whether or not it is separated from your house and whether or not there are any cracks or gaps when it comes to the patio or the deck. You'll often see deck boards coming unnailed where the nail is actually showing because there's such a big gap. You'll want to make sure that you walk around your property and look for those gaps for sure. And if you see them, call a foundation expert. The seventh sign that you may have foundation issues deals with your wallpaper. Oftentimes people forget that wallpaper is actually stuck to the wall. If there's shifting going on with your foundation, then your wallpaper will actually tear. So you'll want to take a look at the wallpaper in your home, and if there are any tears or shifting, or even if the wallpaper is coming off, you know that that could potentially be a foundation issue, not just wear and tear. So don't take a look at your wallpaper and think, oh my goodness, it's 10 years old and it's obviously going to be normal wear and tear and it will crack. That's not the case. They make really great wallpaper these days. And in fact, I've been in houses that are 40 years old and the wallpaper is still intact. It's not coming off. There are no cracks and it is stuck on the wall. They make it to where that it will stick on the wall forever almost. You can't use the wear and tear excuse per se. So you want to make sure that you take a look at that, especially if there's multiple areas in your home where the wallpaper is actually coming off or tearing, or there's cracks in the wallpaper. That could be a very sure sign that there's something going on with your foundation. The eighth sign that there could be a foundation issue has to do with the nail pops. You're probably wondering what a nail pop is. It's very simple. It's where the nail in the drywall is popping out and breaking through your drywall. Sometimes the nail will actually come all the way through the drywall and you will see it popping out and it will tear the drywall out. But then other times you'll just see a little circle protrusion per se out of the drywall to where that the nail pop actually is starting to break, but it hasn't all broken. This could be a sure sign that there's an issue with your foundation if you see multiple nail pops coming through. Wherever nail pops are, there could be certain reasons for it. It doesn't always have to be about a foundation issue. It could be that the drywall was improperly installed. So this is why you'll want to take a look and get an estimate out just to make sure that there are not any foundation issues. And if there are none, then you can have somebody or you yourself can repair them. You can just get a hammer and hammer those nails back in, or you can replace them or make sure that the screws that are in there are accurate. Now, if the nail pops are in the roof or the exterior of the wall, the screw or the nail both probably need to be replaced. So make sure that you consult with a contractor if there's no foundation issues, if you're just needing to fix those nail pops, because you want to make sure that the nail pops are taken care of in the appropriate manner. The ninth sign that your house has a foundation issue or could have a foundation issue has to do with sloping floors. Now, not every floor that slopes is an indicator that you have foundation issues. Normally, what a foundation expert will say is that if there's an incremental drop of about an inch every 15 to 20 feet, then you'll want to get that taken care of. But an incremental drop of just a general across a home's foundation isn't always a problem. It's when the problem starts to get a lot more noticeable. So they look at 1 inch every 15 to 20 feet, and if it's that noticeable and that marble, you can lay a marble down on the floor and it rolls in that direction, you'll probably need to have some foundation reports done on your home. A sloping floor issue does not necessarily have to just be in the inside of your home. You can actually have sloping patios, sloping decks, sloping sidewalks. Anything that looks like it's not even should be taken care of, or at least evaluated on a regular basis, and just keeping an eye on it. The 10th sign that you may have foundation issues has to do with bowing walls in your basement. Bowing walls are usually caused by soil expansion. If the soil gets wet, it's going to expand, pushing your wall into the interior of your home. If the soil is dry, then it's going to pull away. And so what most foundation experts say is that one big reason why there is foundation issues on a home, whether that's a newer home or an older home, is the fact that people haven't properly taken care of the soil around the exterior of the home. So oftentimes one way to correct this is the fact that people need to put fill dirt around their home probably every year, if not every other year, and they want the water from any raindrops to move away from the foundation so that it can't get into those gaps, push the foundation out, bow it, and crack it. because the dry soil around there and allowing water to get into the basement walls is one of the biggest issues that people have. So you'll want to take care of the exterior of your home and make sure that the water is moving away from your property and that you don't let the soil ever get so dry that the water is getting down into the gap between your soil and the foundation. And the 11th sign that there could be foundation issues in your property has to do with water and the leaks that could potentially come in. Water will seep through the leaks, whether that's just a small 1/8 inch crack or a big one. And if you're not careful, water coming through the basement is a sure sign that there's a crack, because water will run where it's easy to flow into. And so if there's leaks in your property, you'll want to make sure that you take good care of that and to get it sealed up and get your foundation taken care of. I hope this video helps you with looking for the sheer signs of foundation issues, whether you're looking to purchase a home or whether you're looking to sell your home. I hope this information was of value. Now, if you are wanting to purchase a home, you'll want to make sure that you do your due diligence, and in that 10-day inspection period, get a foundation expert to come out there. If you're selling your home and there are issues going on, you'll want to make sure that you hire someone, especially a foundation expert that is probably a structural engineer level, because oftentimes if there are any concerns, a buyer's agent will come in and they will ask for some kind of report that shows that there are no issues. And an engineer report will show that report. You'll be able to give that report to the potential buyer to alleviate any concerns. Hope this video helps, and as always, go out and live your best Kansas City life.